sure I know Igor. I must know Igor, but I don't recognize. He's growing a beard. Okay. And Charlotte and Audarya Janani and Aradhana and Alokika Prema, all in one, at least in the photo. And Nandimukhi and Yamuna and Valeria. Oh, Valeria from Cordoba. And Mandali is also here. And who else is here? Malati Mala is here, and Soumya Karani is here, and Yaritza is here, and Tia is here, and Vrindapati is here, and Keli Parayana Sevini, Mahima Mai, and Shravana Ramaniya, and Gokul. Who is Gokul? I know one Gokul. And Hiranya Pandit and Susanna. Susanna. Greetings, Susanna. And Govindananda. And Govindananda. And Padma Manjari and Damir. Katyayani, Sumitra, Tirtamayi, Prema Sarovara, Krishnamayi. Oh, Krishnamayi. Greetings, Krishnamayi. And Rajalilavati and Anupama and Madhya Nalila. And of course, Dharmagopta. I think that's everyone so far. Greetings to you all and thank you all for coming. Oh, and Krishna Shakti is also with us from Brazil. Yeah. Very good. All right, we have a song which I must confess I have not yet looked at, from Srila Narottama Das Thakur, Sadhaka Dehocita Lalasa. Okay. I would review last week's song, but it seems to have disappeared from my browser, as they call it. So we'll just focus on this song. And it's more Kabe, when, oh when. Hari Hari, Kabe mora, Hoibe, Su-Dina, bhajibo se rādhā-kr, hoiyā, premādhīna. When will I directly worship Shri Radha and Krishna? When will I be overwhelmed with love for the divine couple? O Lord Hari, when will that auspicious day be mine? So let's see some words here. Bhajibo, I will worship. Radha Krishna, it's obvious. Se means this. And hoiyā, being, having been. Premādhīna, overwhelmed with love. I guess that's what that's translating. And Su-Dina, I really don't know, because Dina usually means fallen, lowly, wretched, very fallen, very lowly. That's not in the translation. Kabe. Then the second verse, suyantra miśāiyā gābo sumadhura tāna ānande koribo dońhāra rupa gunogan. When accompanying myself on a musical instrument, that must be suyantra, will I happily sing gābo, will I happily sing sweet songs describing the beautiful forms and qualities of the divine couple. So rupa guna gan, songs, gana, of rupa and guna, the form and qualities. The word guna, we usually translate as qualities, can also mean something like virtues, the good virtues. Ānande koribo dońhāra rupa gunagan. So when will I koribo do the gana, the song of the form and qualities or virtues of the two dońhāra in ānanda, in joyfulness. Accompanying myself, suyantra, on musical instrument. Yantra can mean machine, can also mean musical instrument. Miśāiyā, accompanying myself, I don't know. Gābo sumadhura, very sweetly, happily sings sweet songs. Sweet songs, sumadhura. Tāna, I don't know. Looks like something, I don't know what it is. Why speculate? Then, Radhika Govinda Boli Kandibo Uchai Share Bhajibo. Is that right? Bhajibo. Shakal Anga Nayanera Nire. When will I loudly call out, "Oh, Radhika, oh, Govinda," the tears from my eyes wetting my entire body? Okay, Kandibo, I will cry, I will weep. And Boli, chanting. So chanting, I think that's probably should be Boliya. Chanting Radhika Govinda, I will cry. Uchai Share, chanting loudly. Uchai Share, this in the sound which is loud. Bhajibo, Shakalanga. Anga is the body, or the limbs of the body. Shakal, all the limbs. Nayaner nire, the water, nira, of the eyes, nayana. Bhajibo, I guess, means will be making wet. E bara Haruna Koro Rupa Shonatan Raghunatha Dasa Mora Jiva Jivan. This one's quite straightforward. Oh, Srila Rupa Goswami, oh, Srila Sanatana Goswami, oh, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, oh, Srila Jiva Goswami, my life and soul, please be merciful to me this one time. A bar, this time, e bara. Karuna koro, do mercy, make mercy. O Rupa, O Sanatan Raghunathas, mora shi jiva jivana. My jiva jivana, my life, which is shi jivana, my life and soul. And then number 5, e bara karuna koro, lalita vishaka, shakya bhave mora prabhu suboladi shaka. Oh. O Lalita, O Vishaka, O Sridama, O Subala, and other friends of Lord Krishna, please be merciful to me this one time. Okay, that's interesting because it's, we don't usually hear of such a prayer directly addressing the immediate friends of Krishna, in this case, both male and female friends. Shabe mili korodoya uruk mor asha prarthana koraye shoda Narottama Dasa. All of you, please be merciful to me and fulfill my desire. This is the constant prayer of Narottama Das. Uruk would mean fulfill. So, yeah, Shabe Mili, all of you together, I guess. Koro doya, do mercy. So we have karuna and we have doya. Both seem to have a pretty much same sense of mercy, compassion, mercy. Puruk mor asha, fulfill my hope, asha. Prarthana is a prayer, specifically pra-artha, stating strongly stating a purpose, I think you could say. Artha means purpose. Hoibe, so making this prayer, shada, not just once, but always, Narottama Dasa. Yeah, okay. Right, so shall we try to sing it? Why not? We have a band with us. Yes, we have Brajaduta Gopal and Amrita Lahari and Madhajivan and Audarya Dharani. Is she here? Mukunda. Oh, that's here. Okay. You don't want to play any shaker noise maker? Not if you don't want it. Okay. We have all these cool percussion instruments and nobody likes to play them. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can move this because this computer, somehow the battery died. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. And we have to change music setting. Okay. Hari Hari Kabe mora Hoibe Su-Dina. Hari Hari Kabe mora Hoibe Su-Dina. Bhajibo se rādhā-kr hoiyā premādhīna. Bhajibo se rādhā-kr hoiyā premādhīna. Suyantra miśāiyā gābo sumadhura tāna. Suyantra miśāiyā gābo sumadhura tāna. Ānande koribo dońhāra guna gābo. Ānande koribo dońhāra guna. Radhika Govinda boli koribo uccaisvare. Radhika Govinda boli koribo uccaisvare. Vijibe sakala anga nayanera nire. Vijibo E bharakuna koro rupa sannata. E bhakaruna koro rupa raghunata dasmora shijivana. Raghunata Eva karuna koro lalita vishaka. Sakya bhave mora prabhu subaladi shaka. Sabebili kori doya pura mora. Sabebili doya Prarthana koroye shahada Narottama Dasa. Hari Hari Kabe mora Hoibe Su-Dina. Bhajibo se rādhā-kr hoiyā premādhīna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Srila Narottama Das Thakura ki Jai. Turn original sound for musicians off. Okay. And yes, we had quite a band backup here. Nice. So continuing the story the glorious life of Srila Narottama Das Thakur, briefly. Where were we last week? Last week, the child Narottama has appeared, and it's recognized by astrologers just how great a person he's going to be. But there's been a warning, and the warning is keep that boy away from the river. He lived near the Padma River, which is here called the Padmavati River. I visited there years ago, and it is indeed just, it's right there at the river. So it's really hard to imagine keeping a young boy growing up the whole time, keeping him away from the river, because he's going to want to go and swim and play. So let's see how this goes. Well, I think we already know what's going to happen eventually. But let's see, 6 months passed swiftly as the mother and father, Krishnananda and Narayani, doted on their growing child. That's what parents do when their children are small. They dote. That means they fuss about the child. Oh, wow. It says here that Krishnananda sent invitations on golden plates, inviting them for the Annaprasana, the Annaprasana ceremony, when the child receives grains for the first time. So all the guests are gathering, but there was a problem. They're all there, all the guests are there, and they're there with the child, the little baby Narottama, and I guess Daddy Krishnananda is holding the baby, no, probably the mother, and Krishnananda is with the spoon, with the kheer, and there's a problem. The problem is he refuses to open his mouth. They tried to coax him, but he turned his head away in disgust. He turned his head away in disgust. Why was he disgusted? There was confusion. No one knew what to do. Then one thoughtful Brahmin came forward and reassured everyone. He said, don't worry. This baby will not eat the sweet rice because it has not been first offered to Lord Krishna. Yeah. Well, they realized, oh, we forgot to offer. So Krishnananda quickly went, placed it on the altar, and then after that, his mother offers Narottama a spoonful. To everyone's relief, the child happily devoured the rice. And then Krishnananda is thinking, interesting. This child is, we've been worshiping Krishna for generations, but this child is already teaching us how to be mindful of our duty. And so he announces, my son shall be given only the Lord's Mahaprasadam from now on. Okay, so that's the description of his early babyhood. And yeah, I must say, I did not receive anna prashana, anna prashana when I was a child. Did you have anna prashana? No?
No.
Hmm.
Maybe they should do like during initiation, like you have all the
Yes, have all the samskaras that we miss during initiation. There is that some practice like that when a boy is getting married, that he will first have his Brahmin initiation at that time. Yeah. Okay, a little bit more. Now starts a section called childhood. So Raja Krishna Nanda is sitting next to his brother, Purushottam Datta. And they're sitting in the main room of the palace, and they're surrounded by servants. And he says, less than 2 months until Rathayatra in Jagannath Puri. Okay. He says that soon there will be hundreds of pilgrims will be passing through Khetri on their way to the festival. Interesting, because geographically, I wouldn't think Khetri is a place that one would pass through. Unless people are coming from further north. Bangladesh, okay, maybe. Why not? It is our duty, he says, to receive them properly and make their stay in Khetri as comfortable as possible. So then he makes plans. We have to make accommodation. We have to make a kitchen. Yeah, everyone should be pleased by our accommodation. Oh, no Spanish translation today. What to do? Okay. So he makes all these arrangements, and already some pilgrims have arrived. Tonight, one of them will give a discourse in the courtyard of the palace temple. So he announced that, and he went back to his private quarters. This is Krishnananda, and he looks out the window, and he sees his son, Narottama. Little Narottama is playing in front of the palace, playing with some other village children. And he calls out to him, Naru, Naru, where are you going? And Narottama says, I'm going, Pita. I'm going to see the big river with my friends. Dun, dun. What? You come back into the palace right now. So he rushes out and he grabs Narottama and he hugs him. Naro, you know you don't have to leave the palace for anything. Whatever you want, we will bring to you here. So this starts to sound very much like an echo of the story of the Buddha as a child, right? Sakyamuni, Gautama Sakyamuni. about whom there was the prediction that either he will become a great, powerful king or he will become a great saint. And his father doesn't want him to be a saint. So he says, you have to, he keeps him in the palace. And then, as the story goes, somehow he gets out of the palace one day, and it's then when he is shocked to see someone who is aged, someone who is, I guess, seriously ill, and he sees, I believe, also a dead body, a human corpse, and he is completely shocked because he's never seen this before, and he comes back to the palace, and that's the beginning of the end of his palace life, he decides. According to one version, he's getting ready to leave, and his father says, no, don't leave. And he says, well, if you, Dad, can you protect me from old age, disease, and death? And his father says, not really. And he says, well, in that case, I'm out of here. But here, of course, it's going to be a quite different story. And so Krishnananda says, I will dig a pond for you next to the palace and fill it with water from the Padma River. Then you can learn to swim with the guards watching you. Okay. And he tells the children, the other children, don't ever try to take my son to the river. Okay. So that's Srila Narottama Das Thakur ki jai. Little Narottama is being prevented from going to the river. That's really, it's almost like a curse. Seems like a curse. Okay. So yeah, translation, we don't have Espanol. My apologies to those of you who are Spanish speakers. What happened, Manibanda? You have a sore throat. Sore throat? Something like that. He's just offering obeisance. Okay. Lost your voice. I hope you will get better soon. Okay. Do we have any other translation? Yamuna, are you translating German? Yes, it's great. Thank you. And who else? Anyone else? German. German is taken care of. Russian? I thought I saw Sonia Karani. Yes. Yes, she's, I see now. Okay. Good. Right. Now it's time for my show and tell bit, which is today related to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, whose 150th anniversary of his appearance was just this last Thursday. And what I want to show are two books that I happen to have here. One is called Modern Hindu Impersonalism, the History, Life, and Thought of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. And this was written by Pranava Das Adhikari, who is a devotee and a scholar in Sweden, teaching at the University of Stockholm. And this was his doctoral dissertation he published some years ago. And yeah, it was published by Oxford University Press, which is quite some accomplishment. And I'll just mention the way he organized the book, because he calls it modern Hindu personalism. He's emphasizing in the book how Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is different from most, practically all of the other Hindu reformers of the early 20th century. In fact, he has, the end of the book, he has an interesting section he calls a comparison with Swami Vivekananda. This is part of the last section called Bhaktisiddhanta in Context. So the book has 5 parts. The first is called Rise of Non-Dualism in Bengal. So this is also very much telling the context. And he goes back to the early 19th century, Ram Mohan Roy. Ram Mohan Roy was a reformer who decided that we don't need these Puranas. These Puranas, they're just so much mythology. Let's go back to the Upanishads. Well, okay, the Upanishads are, of course, also sacred literature of the tradition. But the Upanishads are very much concerned with identifying and understanding how to realize Brahman. And Brahman is a kind of, as we would say, impersonal way of understanding reality. So he kind of, Ram Mohan Roy sort of set the pace for how this so-called reformed Hinduism was going to develop. And of course, this is happening in another context. And what is that? That's colonialism, the British presence. There were French, there were Portuguese, there were Dutch, I guess, but then the British prevailed, and with the British came their religion, namely Christianity, and they were challenging the indigenous tradition or traditions of India. And then the intellectuals of India got to thinking, well, how do we respond to this? And their main response was, okay, let's push out all kinds of personalism and make something which is, in their mind, beyond personalism, and which is therefore inclusive, which is universal. This was their idea. Part 2 is called Life and Works. So this is where he gives biographical account of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and he divides his life into 3 periods. So he appeared in 1874, and he counts his first period as 1874 up to 1900. And this was to age 26. And then the second period is 1901 to 1918. We can say that's a period when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur goes into very intense austerities, chanting 1 billion names. And then his preaching, which begins in 1918. He establishes the, what is its specific name? Chaitanya Mat. And that goes until his departure in the beginning of 1937. And then the third section of the book is called Bhakti Universalist. There he describes, he talks about the mission in Europe. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had sent devotees to Europe, especially Bhakti Hridaya Ban Maharaj. He went to London and he also went to Germany, and he even tried to mix with the Nazis in Germany. Yeah, there's a whole history there. Much of which has been documented. And then the fourth chapter is called Social Philosopher. And here, I think, as I remember, he's mainly referring to one particular book which Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had written. There's subsections to each of these chapters. Here he speaks about personalism. He speaks about the making of society in Bengal, about yukta vairagya, translating personalism, then personhood and the place of sexuality. And there's a summary. And then this fifth chapter, which I already mentioned, Bhaktisiddhanta in context, with 4 sections: reformer, revivalist, or both, ? Traditional and modern Hinduism, a comparison with Swami Vivekananda, and then old wine in new bottle, quote unquote. And there's some appendices with some details. One appendix is called Tour to Central Europe. We're in Central Europe, aren't we? I wonder what that covers. 293. Bear with me a moment. 293. Oh, this is just kind of listing the travels of Swami Ban Maharaj in Germany and other countries of Central Europe. Well, indeed, he goes to Prague. Oh, he didn't go to Poland. He went to Berlin. He went to Leipzig. He went to Dresden. He went to Prague, Vienna, Munich, Tübingen, Boiron, Bonn, and Marburg. Well, I didn't realize he had traveled that much. Yeah. So Pranava Prabhu, known in his academic outfit as Ferdinando Sardella, he worked very, he was very industrious in doing the research for that. And I don't know if it was while doing this or after, but he told me that because he was doing research also on the history of the Gaudiya Math. And there's a book he's working on. I think he's collaborating with one other devotee about the history of the Gaudiya Math, or at least partially about that history. So for that purpose, one thing he did, he wanted to see the transcripts of the court case, which was going on in this. There was a court battle that went on for several years between factions of the Gaudiya Math. Srila Prabhupada speaks about that. So he wanted to see the transcriptions from that case. So he went to the court and he asked, "Can I see those transcripts?" And they said something like, "Yes, yes, just wait here." And then nothing happened. And then he went the next day and the next day and the next day. As I remember, he said he spent 2 months going there every day. And finally, they gave him. So he has those transcripts, which is quite something. Yeah, I guess it took them that long to be convinced that he was serious. Okay, I'm not finished quite. There's another book that I recently received as a gift. Very nice book. It's called The Mission, Srila Prabhupada and His Divine Agents. Here, Srila Prabhupada refers to Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura. And this is compiled by Swami B.B. Bodhayan. Bodhayan Maharaj is is a disciple of Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, the late Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And he's a very nice person. And he has compiled short presentations with photos of, I'm guessing, all of the sannyasis of Bhakti, all of the devotees who Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gave sannyas to. And there are 38 sannyasis here, including our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has possibly the longest account. It goes for several pages. Some of the accounts here are very short, like 1 or 2 pages. 56, yes. In the case for Srila Prabhupada, it's 18 pages. And then it also includes accounts of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-sannyasi devotees, including Srila Ananta Vasudev Prabhu, Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Srila Madan Mohan Das Adhikari, Srila Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Purushottam Das Brahmachari, Srila Raghava Chaitanya Das Brahmachari, and Srila Saki Charan Das Babaji Maharaj. So there's 3 Babajis. Now, I don't know, I haven't read this yet. Interesting to see how they received Babaji Vesh. But I would like to read a couple of things from this. One is, before he goes into the accounts of each of these individuals, he has some pages about Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And included is a short conversation, dialogue between Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Who is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? He was a military leader of Bengal who created an army to fight for independence of India. So he was having a very different attitude and understanding of how India could become independent from that of Mahatma Gandhi. And in Bengal, he's generally known as simply Netaji. Subhash Chandra Bose is more of a hero than Gandhi. So in 1930, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, along with some of his associates, came to visit Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur at his Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math in Kolkata. And so first, Netaji says, well, maybe I should paraphrase because it's kind of difficult English. He's expressing he wants to free India from the British. And he says he's made a slogan. And the slogan is, "Give me your blood, I will give you freedom." So this is, I guess, India is calling out to the young people, "Give me your blood, I will give you freedom." He says, "Now I've come to know that many youths have taken shelter at your divine feet. Please tell some of them to join my movement so that they can take part in the fight for independence." Do you want to hear what Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says? Yeah. He says, "Have you read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita?" And Netaji says, "Yes, I have read it." And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta says, "In that case, you must certainly remember this verse from the Gita, Yang vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam evaiti konteya sada tat bhava bhavita." O son of Kunti Devi, Konteya, one attains whatever he thinks of at the time of death and will be constantly absorbed in that mood. Netaji says, "Yes, I remember that verse." And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta says, "In that case, you must certainly believe in reincarnation. Netaji says, of course, I believe in reincarnation. Is there any Hindu who does not believe in reincarnation? And Prabhupada says, here comes the hammer. If, in the course of circumstances, you die today, and then take your next birth in England, then would you still be fighting for the independence of India? Or would you be trying to protect your own country's control over India? Netaji says, I understand your logic. However, at this moment, it is fitting to think about independence for our nation. Okay. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, you are worried about all that is but impermanent and material. So material independence for our nation, thinking that we are Indians. And then he goes on, that's a material designation. And he says, my worry is for humanity at large. How humanity can be freed from the bondage of material illusion. So I don't think just for India, I think for humans. I think not just for humans, I think for all living entities. How can they become free from material bondage? That's my mindset. Then Netaji says, I have never before heard such an eloquent explanation of the Bhagavad Gita. However, I just fear that our nation's independence movement does not get negatively affected. And then it says, after speaking these words, Netaji did not make any more requests from Srila Prabhupada and silently left. Yeah, he wanted to enlist some people, some boys in his army. And I guess he gave up that idea. Okay, then I also wanted to read a little from one of his followers. This is Srila Bhakti Gaurav Vaikanas Goswami Maharaj, who was born in 1877. So not much after Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He was known, his name was Ujvaleshwar as a child. And at one point he became known as Patta Joshi, which was a kind of title because he was defeating the royal scholars, I guess, in debate. Yes, in debate. And so he became the royal priest of the king of Odisha. Okay, so now there's a little story here of something wonderful that happened while he is accompanying the king. Once they were traveling in the forest and evening came and they became tired. So they went to one ashram which was near some village. And there were some tantric, black magic tantrics there. And the tantrics welcomed them. Yes, please come. So they were settling down, resting. And then just very shortly after they had arrived, within just a few minutes, the head of this ashram, this tantric, he called everyone, yes, yes, you can all come now for dinner. Prasadam. So Patta Joshi Ujjvaleshwar, who eventually will become Vaikanas Maharaj, he immediately became suspicious. How is it possible? Something they could prepare dinner so quickly. We just arrived. How did they know? So before the dinner, he took some kusha grass and he chanted some mantras and he made kusha grass rings out of that kusha grass, and he gave one to each of the persons he was with, the king and his assistants. And he said, put this on. He said, whatever food, whatever they offer to us, touch this kusha grass to that food before you take anything. So they're doing that. And what happens? They found that all the food turned into stool when touched by the grass rings. So then Patta Joshi Ujjvaleshwar took some yellow mustard seeds, chanted some mantra, and destroyed all the power of the black magic tantric people. And in this way, the king of Odisha was very pleased with him. That's the story. So this is one of the sannyas disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura. Hare Krishna, right. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur ki jai. Any news, any show and tell? Anyone have a birthday today or this week? Rasodari Hari, you have a birthday? No.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. No,
Hare Krishna.
but I just have one question regarding this general from Bengal, that there was a statement that he came to temple and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur said, they are all skinny boys, they will not be good soldiers. Is that true?
Yeah.
Or
I've heard that story also. I can't say. That might be something to look in Bhakti Swami's book. Actually, Bodhayan Maharaj, who compiled this book that I just read from, when I met him once, it was some years back, and he said that he had been planning to write a biography of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. But then when Bhakti Swami's biography came out in 3 volumes, Bodhayan Maharaj said, the job is done. There's no need. So I can well imagine there's some mention of that in that book. You could look. I don't have that with me here. I have it in Slovenia, but I know you have it.
Which Bhakti about Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have in Kindle version, not in physical.
Really? Okay. I thought you had.
Yeah, I
Right.
have. I even read everything on the Kindle just. And the second thing is that you said last time that I made some summary of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura's text on the online, 3 long pages. Do you remember that?
That I said that you made? Maybe
That
you
I, yeah.
maybe you misunderstood.
Oh, then I purified myself studying this text. You know, I
Oh,
thought.
maybe you didn't misunderstand. Yes, my idea was that you could make notes from those three that 3-part essay. Is that what you did?
Well, I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe that I should present here on Zoom, say something about that, but I have some little notes, that's all. Or I can send to you.
What I thought was that you could make notes and then, yeah, you could make them available. But I thought also maybe you would like afterward, going through it, there might be some point or more than one point that you would like to discuss. Anything that struck you from what he says in that.
For sure. There are
Right.
some things for sure. Yeah.
Do you want to, shall we take up one briefly?
Okay. He said that, well, which is, we have to know that when there's some question asked, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is answering, for a long, taking into consideration a lot of things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said one thing which is really, I found it really nice, is that not about guru, because he's speaking is in these 3 parts, mostly about guru. He speaks about shastras, and he speaks about perfection, Svarupa Siddhi and Vastu Siddhi. And regarding shastras, that is what I want to say. It's really nice that he mentioned Chandidas, Vidyapati, this poet from Mithila, and what else? Krishna Karnamrita, Gita Govinda, and Shri Jagannath Vallabhanataka. And he said qualifications if one even wants to touch these books. So that is and he said the one should first study Upanishads and Gita and so on. And then when one have adhikar, which arises from Rasa Lila, one can study the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then one is eligible to touch this, specifically Shri Jagannath Vallabhanataka. He said this Nataka. And he said that, then he explains that we are followers of Radharani and not Chandravali, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took Bhava from Radharani, so she is one of her, like that. And then anyway, I thought like these poems are nice. We saw them in Chaitanya Charitamrita, some of them, but his standard is so to say. And it seems that he also doesn't recognize Guru being Madhyamadikari. In a sense, he said that Madhyamadikari, of course, Kanishta no, many types of Guru no. He said some takes Hegel, Kant, Madame Blavatsky, and so on.
Madame Blavatsky.
Sitar Guru, this Guru, social Guru, national Guru, these are all bogus, he said. And he said actually that that Madhyama can only perform the initial duties of Diksha. but the Uttama is only
The real
only bona fide, so to say.
the real thing is
The real thing, yeah.
Uttama Bhakti, Uttama Adhikari.
Yeah, Adhikari.
Which means I guess that means from 11th Canto Bhagavatam. How does that verse go? Bhavat Vida Bhagavatas. No. Sarva Bhuteshu Ya Pashyat Bhagavat Bhavamatmana Bhutani Bhagavat Yatman Yesha Bhagavatottama. Basically, one who sees all living beings as part and parcel of the Lord, and the Lord in all beings, that is an Uttama Bhakta. Yeah.
So basically, in this, he's rejecting a lot of misconceptions about Guru, and there are some other things interesting about, especially in today's. I would say it was also popular at that time, because most of the devotees who were initiated do not live with the Guru. And, there are some questions, how can one perform Hari Bhajan being away from Guru, so to say. So,
right. And what does he say to that?
Well, he says that that was interesting to me. In one sense, we can compensate this with the Zoom and internet, so to say. But he said that he was asked, can one perform Shravan and Kirtanam while remaining at home? And he said one should hear from Guru. Therefore, I said that. One should remain to his lotus feet, in a sense, and happily render service to him. And he said, but that there is a problem with materialistic association. And that reminds me of, there is Srila Prabhupada disciples, Abhiram, and he once said, like being in the association of devotees, he said once to Srila Prabhupada, they were talking, there is conversation, I don't know exactly the situation, but Srila Prabhupada told him that devotees should go and live on the farm. I imagine it's a village, but farm like. It's a place also for nourishment and for developing economically. And Prabhupada told him one thing which really struck me. He said, if you don't do it, you will all fall down. You're not like me or Bhaktivinoda Thakura, who can live separately, like at home. like that. And therefore that was like, and he asked this one devotee, and he also asked, how can one meditate or do service to Guru Maharaj, to Gurudev from afar? And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur said that such a tendency is common nowadays, that without the practice of hearing and chanting in the association of devotees, and he said no one can advance in devotional serving. He said by bhajan always, and also this devotee asked, is it possible to study the books and periodicals, I guess some magazines, whatever it is there, and consider this to be Shravan and Kirtana? And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur again said that at first he said that attempting to understand the book with own realization is not good, because one consciousness is covered by anarthas, and secondly he said one should hear directly from a guru,
Oh.
I guess this internet and Zoom and things like that
will compensate.
compensate this. And then he said one can study various books and so on. Like that.
Well, it's kind of ironic that he says that because, of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, following his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, considered writing and printing and publishing very important. He considered it the Brihat Mridanga, so he wanted it distributed widely. So to say you can get the book, but it's not going to help you, without getting the direct instruction, makes one wonder, so then what's the point of having all of the book production, the book printing and distribution?
Yeah, I just opened and exactly what he said. He said like that, I can even read. He said, in attempting to understand a book with my own realizations, I will actually understand something different due to my perception being covered with anarthas. If one cannot hear topics directly at the lotus feet of the Guru, then if one cannot hear topics directly at the lotus feet of the Guru, then one can study various books.
Oh,
So
okay. So he does.
So it's contradictory a little bit, so to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, it's a little bit interesting. Okay. I would say that, thank you, that's interesting. I would say, as you mentioned, we have Zoom. We have other advantage which the devotees of that time would not have had, and that is recordings, audio recordings. We have, I have this gizmo with all the recordings of Prabhupada's lectures and conversations. It's 1,400 hours of of everything.
But it's also interesting, if I may mention, something Shivaran Swami said, with the in different context, of course, with the Zoom appearance of the Zoom and so on. And he said that I guess he was referring to New Vrajadama, that there is a lecture and devotees would stay at home and look at the lecture on YouTube and so on, or Zoom, not going there directly on the lecture. And he said that is not good also, that one is, he said one should come there in person if possible, and he gives various reasons, but anyway, just maybe he even mentioned Srila Prabhupada, like if Srila Prabhupada would be here present directly,
what are you going to do?
You will not, you will not look on the YouTube. You will come there and be there.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. That's interesting. Anyone else have anything you'd like to share? Any news, any views, any issues? Otherwise, we can read some Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we have also in internet form. Let's see. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay. That here. And we continue ever so gradually with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes, better known at that time as formally he is Vishvambar, the support of the universe, and informally and more intimately as Nimai, who then eventually will become known as Nimai Pandit. Why is he Nimai? Because he was born under a neem tree, and neem trees are auspicious and protective. So we have the problem of stealing going on, and Mother Sachi is challenging little Nimai. Kene churi koro, kene maraha shishure, kene para gore jaha, kiba nahi ghare. Why do you steal others' things? Why do you beat the other children? And why do you go inside others' houses? What do you not have in your own house? And Prabhupada mentions that he steals as a child not because he is in want, but out of a natural instinct. And he says small children, they'll go anywhere and everywhere. And they will fight with each other. That's just, it's normal childhood. And he makes the point, where does this propensity for stealing and fighting come from? Must come from the spiritual world. And otherwise we wouldn't have it here. Shuni krudha hoiyā prabhu, gora bhitar jaha, gore jatta bhando chilo, pelila bangya. Thus rebuked, thus scolded by his mother, the Lord would go in anger to a room and break all the pots within it. Pelila bangya. Throwing, smashing pots. So little Nimai was quite a temperamental little child. Tabe shachi kole kori koraila santosh lajjita hoila prabhu jani nija dosha. Then Shachimata would take her son on her lap and pacify him, and the Lord would be very much ashamed, admitting his faults. Lajjita. Lajja means embarrassment or shame. So lajjita hoila. Nija dosha, his own fault. Knowing his own fault. So, of course, this is all very much summarizing what's in much more detail in Chaitanya Bhagavata. Kabu mridu haste koila mata ke tarana, mata ke murchita daki koraye krandana. Once the child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chastised his mother with his soft hand, and his mother pretended to faint. Seeing this, the Lord began to cry. The verse itself doesn't say that she pretended. Kabu mridu haste Matake tadan, matake murchita deki. Well, I suppose you could take it that she is pretending because he is seeing her as being fainted. Narigana kohe, narike ladeha ani, tobe sushta hoiben tomara janani. The neighboring ladies told him, "Dear child, please bring a coconut from somewhere and then your mother will be cured." Sushta hoiben. Narikela ani. Bahire jaha anilen dui narikelo. Dakiya apurva hoila vismita shakolo. He then went outside the house and immediately brought 2 coconuts. All the ladies were astonished to see such wonderful activities. So I guess there were no coconut trees there, and therefore they were astonished. Kabushishu shange snan korila gangate kannagan ailataha devata pujite. Oh, now starts the trouble again. More trouble. Sometimes the Lord would go with other children to bathe in the Ganga, and the neighboring girls would also come there to worship various demigods. And Prabhupada explains when the girls were 10 or 12 years old, they would go and they would worship Lord Shiva to get good husbands. They especially wanted to get a husband like Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is very peaceful and at the same time most powerful. So that's an ideal husband, right? Peaceful and powerful. Yeah. This happens mainly in the month of Vaishakha, April, May. So that time would be coming soon. And of course, that would be already quite hot weather in Bengal. And so, yes, taking bath in the Ganga at that time would be a great pleasure. Ganga snan kori puja korite lagila kanyagan madhye prabhu asya boshila. When the girls engaged in worshiping the different demigods after bathing in the Ganga, the young lord would come there and sit down among them. Kanyagan madhye. It's very Sanskritic. Otherwise, it would be madhye. Kanyagan madhye. Prabhu asya boshila. So asya is this gerund form. Having come, boshila, he sat. Anjar kohe, ama puja, ami dibobar, Ganga Durga, Dasimor, Mahesh Kinkar. Addressing the girls, the Lord would say, "Worship me, and I shall give you good husbands or good benedictions. The Ganga and Goddess Durga are my maidservants. What to speak of other demigods? Even Lord Shiva is my servant." So, Kanyare Kohe. he speaks to the girls, young girls, kanya. Ama puja, worship me. Ami dibo vara, I will give you vara. Vara means, it means choice. It can mean excellence. So I will give you basically a nice husband. And the word kinkara, translated here as servant, means literally kim kara, one who does what is asked. So kim is question what, and kara is doing. So the kinkara is one who's always ready to serve, always ready to ask the master, what should I do? Kinkara. Then Prabhupada discusses misconceptions about demigods and Supreme Lord. And so what he's saying, is that Nimai is teaching a theological point, a lesson. Since he is the Supreme Lord, he's saying there's no need to worship these devas. You worship me and I will fulfill all your desires. All of these devas and devis, they are my servants. Dasi, mora, mahesha, kinkara. Mahesha is my servant. He also addresses the criticism that in our Krishna consciousness movement, we are accused of not approving of the worship of demigods. And then sort of rhetorically, he says, how can we approve of such worship when it is condemned by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna? How can we allow people to become foolish and prita-jnana, bereft of intelligence? Our propaganda is simply meant to enable intelligent people to understand the distinction between matter and spirit and understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the whole spiritual identity. That is our mission. How can we mislead people into worshiping so-called gods in material bodies within this material world? Yeah. Then he says this was confirmed by Lord Chaitanya. We're just following Lord Chaitanya. And then he refers to Narottama Das Thakur, Anna Devashrai Nai, Tomar Kohinu Bhai, E Bhakti Parama Karana. To become a staunch, pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without deviation, Ananya Bhak, one should not divert his attention to the worship of the demigods. Such control is a symptom of pure devotional service. Such control. Okay, maybe one more verse, and then there's a question from Bernd and Ramona. So, Apani chandana pari paren pulamala naivedya kadya kana sandesh chalukala. Without the permission of the girls, the Lord would take the sandalwood pulp and smear it on his own body, put the flower garlands on his neck, and snatch and eat all the offerings of sweetmeats, rice, and bananas. This word sweetmeat may sound strange. It just means sweets. I don't know why that. It's an old-fashioned word for sweets. And in the Bengali, it mentions sandesha. And I happened to read some days ago that this word sandesh actually means message. And the reason that this particular sweet is called sandesh is because it was custom, it was typical that when someone would visit someone else, they would bring this sweet. Or maybe a messenger would bring from the person sending the message. So it would always be it would always accompany the message. And so the sweet became known as message. Yeah, I wondered because there's poetry by Srila Rupa Goswami. What is it? There's Uddhava Sandesh. And I always wondered about that. So there you have it. Okay, so Lord Chaitanya is being mischievous. But in his mischief, he is teaching something. And we could say he's also expressing his eagerness. He wants that these girls will get the greatest benefit. And so he just takes from them instead of waiting for them to agree to offer him. They're kind of hesitating. Okay, so he just takes. And Srila Prabhupada quotes, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasa. One should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appears in this age of Kali with his associates as the Panchatattva. Oh. And then he lists all the Panchatattva. In this age, an intelligent person worships the Panchatattva by the method of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and, if possible, distributing prasadam. Prabhupada sometimes gives a whole purport within his translation. So here he's included, he lists Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, and Srivas Thakur. Because the verse says, Sanga sa anga upa anga astra parshadam, which is a very compact way of saying the Panchatattva. And then Yajanti hi sumedas yagyai sankirtana prayai. So this prayai, this is actually in plural instrumental form. So yagyai means with sacrifices, plural. What sacrifices? Sankirtana prayai. Mainly, praya means mainly, Sankirtan. So Prabhupada adds, as part of his translation, and if possible, distributing prasadam. That's all. Then he says this Krishna consciousness movement is introducing this bona fide method of worship in the Western world, going town to town, village to village, with deities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, so that's what we are supposed to be doing. All right, let's stop there. This is 1452. Let's stop there and see. Yes, Bernd and Ramona are asking, ist Vani nicht wichtiger als Vapu? Is Vani not more important than Vapu? Yes, that is true. Ja, das stimmt. But there's a bit of a paradox there because if there's opportunity to serve Vapu, then one will jump at the opportunity because personal service is, well, it's personal. There's some sort of intimacy when there is direct service. And simultaneously, yes, Vani is more important. If we put them in the balance, in any case, for how long can there be Vapu service? There's limitations on time and circumstances. But Vani, the instructions are always available. And the idea is that if one is serving the instruction, one is identifying the instruction as being non-different from the guru. So that means that the guru is present in the form of the instruction, which is being remembered and then being acted upon. So like that, I would say. I hope that makes sense. Oh, we don't have. Oh, dear Lalita. What language did Lord Krishna speak and all the devotees when they appeared on Mother Earth 5,000 years ago? Well, I wasn't there, at least not in my memory, to be able to tell you. I know it's hard to imagine them speaking Sanskrit. We might want to say they were speaking Braj Bhasha. I think that modern historians of North Indian languages might be a little doubtful that the Braja Bhasha that's spoken today would have been the Braj Bhasha spoken by Lord Krishna. It's, of course, also said that Krishna can speak all the languages of all the animals, which suggests that he could have been speaking any languages that were spoken in that area in North India at that time. It's said that today one hears different numbers. Sometimes we hear that there are 600 dialects in India. Sometimes we hear it's much more than that. I think official languages are, what, 15 or 20 languages. And of those, Hindi for North India, Tamil, the main two languages, for Tamil for the South. Srila Prabhupada was hoping when India took independence, he wanted that Sanskrit be made the national language of India. That didn't happen, at least not yet, but maybe it will. But that would take quite some major educational program to get everyone speaking Sanskrit. Not so easy. Many years ago, I was in Varanasi, and I heard about one ashram where they only speak Sanskrit. And I found the ashram and I went and visited. And I remember one young boy, because I had heard that they also have some books for learning Sanskrit. And so I went to ask about that. And one boy came, maybe 10-year-old boy, 12-year-old boy. And sure enough, he was just speaking Sanskrit. Simple Sanskrit, but nonetheless. Yeah, it's very sweet, actually.
I was thinking, Guru Maharaj, when I had this question in mind, that Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was ruling all over the earth. He was just one king. And then I was thinking maybe they all had just one language. That's not like a divided like nowadays, because every country has different rulers. So, and also this question prompted me because children that we teach at the Bhaktisiddhanta Manor, that visit Bhaktisiddhanta Manor, they have some similar questions like this one. Like they ask me, how much Krishna weighed when he was here on the earth, 5,000? Or do the cows have any allergies, food allergies? Questions like that I just get like. So I was thinking maybe I could ask this question. You may know maybe historically something, but
no, I don't think so. Yeah, of course, most of our shastras are in Sanskrit, and I don't know if Prabhupada would say, it's very possible he would say that Krishna spoke in Sanskrit, but it's hard to imagine him speaking Sanskrit to the gopis, because it's too formal. You know, he's with his friends in Vrindavan, so his mother, his father. So to speak Sanskrit would be, I don't know.
But then you may speak differently in the Battle of Kurukshetra, or you may speak differently.
Yes, it's possible.
In Dvarka, his queens are.
Yeah. Well, would he speak Sanskrit to his queens? They would complain. They would say, come on, speak the language, speak normally. Don't speak this fancy. Yes, we know you're God, but you don't have to always.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it's already that time, so I guess we can come to an end, and the local dogs are all howling right now. Sometimes they do that. I don't know what gets them started. Sanga's over. Yeah. So my thanks to all of you for joining. My thanks to our translators for translating. And I want to also say next week we will be here and we're going to have a special guest. And the special guest is a brahmachari who I know from Bhaktisiddhanta Manor. His name is Navadvipa Chandra Das Brahmachari. And we're going to discuss about reading and teaching Bhagavatam because he is a teacher of Shastra since quite many years, I think. Dear Lalita, do you know how many years he's been teaching?
Well, I wouldn't know, Guru Maharaj. At least 10 years, or maybe Charlotte would know better. You know Charlotte? How long the Navadvipa Chandra Prabhu has been teaching?
Anyway, we'll find out next week. Yeah, so tell all your friends. We'll have I'm sure, an interesting discussion. And I will say thank you all very much again. Have a great week. Keep safe, keep sane, chant, and be happy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Danke für eure
Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaja ki jai. All glories, all glories to Saint Devotees.